Welcome to Comedy is Dead Season 2 with Marcella Arguello and Chloe Mikala, my new co-host. I'm very excited to bring this new season to you guys here fresh on YouTube. And for those that are unfamiliar, because season 1 is no longer available, but Comedy is Dead is a podcast about comedy for comedians, but also for comedy super fans, and maybe just anyone that's kind of like interested in the behind the scenes type shit that happens in comedy. And I started it because I think comedy is in a bad place right now, and it's been in a bad place for a while. And I think part of it is that there's no mentorship and that no one is really talking to each other about how to be better and improve and the ins and outs of the business. And that's why I started Comedy is Dead the first season. And the second season, I brought in a host, Chloe, because I think she's so great. She's a great up-and-coming stand-up comedian here in Chicago. And I just wanted someone on the podcast that could bring a different perspective that I know I wasn't bringing on the first season, and I knew it would improve it. So welcome, Chloe. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you so much.
You want to give a little feedback? I mean, a little background on yourself?
Background. Okay. So it was 1993. And that's when
Were you born in 1993?
Oh, my God, I was.
Oh, my God. Okay, podcast over. We're not doing this. Age difference is a little much for me.
No, I really was born in 1993.
For those who don't know, I've been in comedy almost 20 years now. Okay, that's young.
Yeah, you're only 29.
No, I'm a proud 41-year-old bitch.
Come on, 41.
Okay.
Oh. You don't look a day over.
Comedy. So give a little background on yourself.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you for having me.
Hell yeah.
I truly was honored when you asked me to do that. I was like, me? You want to do it with me? That's so crazy.
With you.
I've been doing stand up for about 5 to 6 years now. I don't know whether or not to count the year 2020 as a part of the year with doing stand up, but I've been doing stand up for 5 to 6 years. I've been doing sketch and improv for about 6 to 7 years. But
before or total?
Total.
Oh, okay.
Total for sketch and improv.
Okay, cool.
Total for about 6 to 7 years. But I've been acting. Like, my background is in theater and acting. I've been doing that for over a decade. Like, that's what I went to school for.
She knows how to deliver a line, y'all.
I sure fucking do, baby. If I can give me any line, I'll fucking give it to you.
Whoa.
So that I like to say that I've just been performing for over a decade.
Yeah, that's good.
But I'm definitely newer in like the stand-up field, and I have primarily been doing stand-up here in Chicago. I technically started in DC, but I was really only doing that for like less than a year, and I took like one of the weirdest stand-up comedy classes, and the fact that I survived that stand-up comedy class is a testament to how I'm here right now.
First of all, nobody should be taking stand-up comedy classes. That's the first rule of Comedy is Dead. Don't take comedy classes. I mean, I know she's fine, but like it's a ripoff. It's always a ripoff.
It was weird.
The only way to get good at comedy is to get on stage in front of people and try stuff and practice stuff, and that's the only way. You do not need. There's techniques to learn certain things, but you will learn those on your own. Yeah. But again, like true mentorship is more valuable, which again is impossible to find in comedy. Yeah. But comedy classes are it's a ripoff. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That class in particular was definitely a ripoff, and like all of us like basically bonded over the trauma that was like funny. The comedy teacher.
Are you still friends with people from that?
Not from that class. Oh, okay. No. But I did really well that night, and I was like, and I had always been told like throughout my life, I was just like, you should do stand up. And I honestly started doing stand up because I was so burnt out from theater. I was like, I need a break, especially doing theater in DC. Like the politics are like, I couldn't do it anymore. Yeah. So I was like, I want to do more funny. I want to make people laugh. And I also wanted to challenge myself because it was the one the one art form that scared the shit out of me. And I was like, okay, well, if this scares me, I just have to do it.
That's cool.
And I'm so glad that I have continued to do it, because there are days when I literally am like, why the fuck am I doing this shit? And then there are other days where I'm like, this is why I'm doing this. And it just like, no matter, even if I take like a little month break here and there, I'm always coming back. I'm like, fucking give me a mic. I was like, I got something to say.
That's the
I got
beauty
some
of
shit
stand-up. It's the mic is always there. You always have something to say, and it's available 7 nights a week. Yeah, and that's what's cool about stand-up is it is always there. It's funny that I got into stand-up because I was like, I don't want to do any other type of. I mean, someone suggested it to me, and I had to mull it over. But in the thought process, I was like, yeah, I don't like relying on other people. That's why I don't like doing theater or any of that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I like being by myself and relying on myself and knowing that I'm going to be on time and I'm going to, you know, show up and do my thing. But do you remember when we first met? Because I don't.
I do remember it because like it was just like truthfully like one of the giddiest like comedy moments, honestly.
Whoa.
It truly was because I had seen your special before. I knew of you from Two Dope Queens.
Oh, that's
and I
cool.
had been a fan of yours.
Oh, cute.
And I remember I had a show at the Laugh Factory. This was a couple years ago, and I was only like 3 years in. And I was one of the first people there. And I remember going up, I was like, oh, I wonder who's on the show tonight. And I see Marcella Arguello, and I was like, what the fuck?
That's cool.
And I was like, oh my God. I was like, she's just on the show with me. There's my name. There's her name. I was like, that's really cool. And I was like, okay, be cool, bitch. It's fucking fine. And then you came upstairs, and I think you were with Clinton.
Oh,
I think,
cute.
yeah, the two of you were just kind of like chilling there. And we just like ended up just like naturally engaging in conversation and talking.
Sure. Yeah, right. She was like scooching over every
every
minute. She
liar.
just scooched over.
I'm just like,
I
in your
don't.
skin.
I really don't remember.
I'm just like in your skin. I'm like, you want to be friends, please? So
Get
no,
off of me.
so we were just talking back and forth, and I remember you had like asked me like how long I'd been doing comedy, and you were like, oh no, like it's good that you're starting like kind of, you know, later in your years because you have more stories to tell. You have funnier shit. You've lived some life.
Ladies, if you're gonna do stand up, do it when you get a little older. You don't.
Though.
I think men should do it when they're young because they're so bad at talking, but women could do it when they're older because their lived experiences are way more interesting as they get older.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
You know, men, they rape when they're young, so they have all these stories accumulating.
Yeah, and
that's a joke, you guys. Is comedy dead? If you didn't laugh at that, comedy is dead for you.
It is so dead, you guys. And
see, doesn't she look like Earl Sweatshirt? Did you see that? Okay.
Steve Urkel?
Earl Sweatshirt. Okay.
Okay, so then I was like, okay, I'm talking to Marcella. This is cool. So I go and do my set, and I think when I did my set, I got off stage. I can't remember if you went up first or I went up first, but I think I had missed you by the end of the night. And I was like, oh, darn. I was like, I want to just say, like...
What a fan, huh?
I saw you... I was just like, oh, like, it was really cool to, like, meet you. Like, I didn't know anything. And then I think we followed each other on Instagram, but I DM'd you on Instagram, and I was like, hey, didn't get to catch you afterwards. Great set. Like, really nice to meet you. And I'll never forget, you messaged me back, and you said, yeah, do you want to host my show? And I was like, what?
Damn, you must have had a good set if I was asking you off jump to host my show.
Well, that I think I did have a pretty decent set that night, but I remember you saying, you were like, well, first of all, you thought that with how the lights were and stage lights were, because I think I did like a race joke where I talked about how it was black and white, but you thought like I was like very light skinned or like very white, and you were like, who's this white bitch up there? And you're like, oh no, she's not white, like because of like how the lights were.
My eyes. I had that
like,
vision.
Wait a minute. You're like, she's not white. But yeah, you asked me to host, and I was like, what? I was like, that just happens. You just say, hey, nice to meet you, and she's like, come host my show.
I don't do friendship in comedy. Okay, I don't need friendship. I don't need this little small talk bullshit everybody does. You know, if you're funny, I'm like, do my show. Come over here. Come, let's do this.
It was so, I just like, I appreciate it. And like, truthfully, I don't think I've told you this, but I changed my flight. I was supposed to come in the day of your show. I was doing work out in San Francisco, and I changed my flight. Like, I left at like 11 p.m. that night.
Oh, dang.
So I could, because I was looking at flights and they were all ass, and I was like, I have to leave at 11 p.m. I'm leaving at 11 p.m. because I'm hosting for Marcella, and there's no way I'm not fucking doing this.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Because I was just like, I loved your vibes, and I was like, I want to do this. And it was, honestly, it was such a fun night. It was such a fun night, and I got to see Becca.
What was the show, though? What was the show? I don't remember what show I asked you to host.
It was, you were, I think you were headlining at Lincoln Lodge.
Oh, at Lincoln
Lodge, and I got to meet Gwen.
Oh, cool.
Is it LaRocca?
Gwen LaRocca, yeah.
LaRocca, who's so great. I hadn't met her. I knew of Becca.
Becca O'Neill, Chicago legend, Chicago party legend, apparently.
Well, yes, that too.
That's another episode.
But she had just recently come back.
That's right.
To Chicago, and I had never seen her live. I'd only seen. So I was like, this is so cool to like watch all of these, like with the exception of Gwen. But I was so glad that I got to meet her and watch her work.
But and that's like, cool. And they probably didn't know you. And yeah.
And I got to meet them, and then it was nice just to watch like two comedians like with Becca, knowing her, and then you, like, I'm like, oh, I get to watch them work live. And it's like, not only that, like, I'm fucking hosting. Like, it was a lot of fun.
That's
like,
cool.
Yeah,
What a great story. Wow.
Really
I'm
cool.
so generous.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's first of all, fun lineup. I barely remember that, but that sounds like a great lineup at the Lincoln Lodge. Must have been a jam. And I just remember thinking you've always been funny to me. There hasn't been a moment, and you're like, pleasant to be around. I'm one of two of those things, so I don't get asked a lot to do stuff. I've always liked your energy and I'm not gonna blow smoke up your ass the way you just did with me, because I don't do that. But I only do. I was just.
You asked for the story. I told you the story. Next time I'll lie. If that's what you want, no smoke up your ass. Next time, you heard it first. I'm lying to Marcella the rest of these fucking episodes.
Please do. I don't want to be melting on camera. When I knew, I've always liked your energy, and I've always liked chit-chatting about comedy with you. But when I knew I wanted you to host the podcast was that night at the Laugh Factory. I did this hilarious impression. First of all, I had just started doing this segment because I do impressions for those that follow me. They're silly impressions. That's what I say. They're silly impressions.
So good, though.
And I did I was doing this segment where I would do a couple and then I would open it to the audience. What do you guys want to hear? I could do anything, right? Is how I say it. And someone yells out, Kanye. And I
gasped in the back. I was like, what is she going to do?
What am I going to do? And what did I do, Chloe?
You literally said, oh, you want to hear Kanye? Ivan Marcella Arguello, and I was like, yo, that was so. That is not something that I was anticipating. Some people were fucking with it. I was dying in the back. I was like,
I think when I walked off, you were like falling on the ground, laughing.
I was rolling. I was actually rolling.
And then, you were rolling away.
I was rolling away.
And because the crowd, there was people that were actually really into it, and then there was a lot of people that were not into. Yeah, they groaned. I didn't care. I was like,
you mean the truth?
Dude, he's a Nazi. Like, the things to even. As a former huge fan.
Same.
I broke my heart watching, his mental health deteriorate after his mother passed away. But my mental health also deteriorated after my father passed away.
You don't fucking become a Nazi.
I didn't become a Nazi.
Yeah.
So it's definitely possible to heal if you so choose to put in that effort. But it was funny watching the audience react to it, because it was that thing where I was like, oh, I don't know what kind of. First of all, I do all these pop vocalist impressions. Like I do Ariana Grande or Beyonce or whoever. And I really hate when men they shout out other men. Like I've been, when I do that segment, people always yell out Trump, which I think I refuse to do.
Enough of that?
I refuse to do. I'm like, you guys have been watching the news all day, and that's what I lecture them. I'm like, that's what you want to hear? Something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
I was like, and I'm not, you just heard me do pop girls, and you're like, I want to hear more Trump. Jesus Christ, you people not get enough? So I never do that one.
Yeah.
And then depending on the type of guy, because I mean, people have been like Morgan Freeman. I'm like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, what? Also, why do you want to hear a woman do male impressions? Do you not know any women?
Is so that's so niche.
It's so silly.
That's so crazy.
But the other funny thing is when I do those open impressions, really, I have no rules to it. I try to just keep an open, creative mind. And that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I don't have to do a voice. I can just he has made it so I can do a Nazi salute. And that's an accurate impression of Kanye West. And which brings me to the episode, guys. The first episode, comedy is dead because of rules.
Comedy is dead because of rules.
Rules are killing comedy. Doing too many, not following enough. I think the messiness of rules, because I feel like there's some rules that people are not following and some rules that people are following a little too much.
Yeah.
And it's just like the fluidity of what comedy is supposed to be, which is a conversation. Unless you have like a rigid one-liner act, which, I know plenty of comedians do, and that's fine. But it's so rare that you shouldn't be following these strict rules. And that's what that impression segment was, where it's like, no, I have no rules for this. That's what's one time I did Elmer Fudd. Someone said Elmer Fudd. And I just picked up the mic stand and used it as a gun. And, people loved it. And the people that hate it, because they're just like, ugh. It's like, guys, open your minds. And it's entertainment.
Also wild to think that a Kanye West Nazi impression brought us together.
Wow. America.
This is America.
And I don't know if there's any rules you hate, but I definitely, my number one rule I hate that comedians follow is this belief that you have to be on stage 700 times a week, 9 days a week. It's just not.
I hate it.
It's not real. It's not good.
It's not realistic. It's not good for your health. That's why so many people have drinking and drug problems. It's just like, I read a quote by a comedian that basically was saying, you know, like, if you aren't doing that, you don't take this art form seriously.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, that's insane. I was like, yeah, well, with the way that you crank out stuff, because it's crazy, because I do like this comedian. I really love his work, but I didn't agree with that. And then when I think about his material in general, I'm like, oh, yeah, a lot of your stuff is, like, history-based. A lot of your stuff isn't, like, personal, like, this one time I did this thing, and this is an experience. And I was like, because you aren't living a lot of those experiences because you're on stage all the time talking about what you're observing, which, like, there isn't anything wrong with that.
Right.
But also I'm like, I don't think I fully know you as a person.
Which is fine. Which is fine, because every comedian is it's up to them to want to do an act.
Yeah.
But I think that mentality of, like, you have to do it this way, this is the only way to get good. Yeah. And it's like, no, that's the only way for you to get good, because you have no life. Yeah. And that's the other problem that a lot of comedians don't understand, because I also think a lot of people of color have a little more access to deeper cultural community and just richer friends and a deeper love and appreciation for the people in their lives. Yeah. That it's like, no, I'm actually funnier when I've spent time with my family. I'm actually funnier when I spent time with all my homegirls. I'm actually funnier when I have, like, a fun girls trip weekend. I'm actually funnier when me and my boo are, like, in a great place because we've been, like, you know, going on dates and having a nice time. Yeah, fucking and second. But what I'm not funnier when I've been performing a bunch for multiple times a week, if not every day, which I think that's a good way to improve a joke, that you are focused on making great. I think it's a fantastic way to do that. Yeah. A lot of the times especially when I'm on the road, part of why I like being in Chicago is that I can tour, and in between my dates, when I'm like, oh, I have a joke that I've just came to me on this tour date, but I don't want to keep doing it only on the weekends. Yeah. So you pop into, you know, the Laugh Factory, like on a Wednesday, Thursday or whatever. Yeah. And then I get to work out that joke in a 10-minute set. And it's just such a fucking luxury to be able to have access to such a great venue like the Laugh Factory. And I think that's one of the other realities is, like, yes, if you're not touring and you need somewhere to practice, yes, I understand that that's a great way to make a joke better, faster, but it doesn't guarantee that the material is any good either.
Yeah, there's no guarantee with that. And it's also, like, finding what works for you. And for me, like, I just kind of had, like, this epiphany, like, a couple months ago, because, like I have realized that I need to take periodic breaks, like, for like a month or two, and I try to make it align in Chicago with the summertime, because, like, we're all depressed for 6 months out of the year with, like, the cloud.
That's funny. Mine is during the holiday season, during Thanksgiving and Christmas, not because of the cold Chicago, but that's just how I've always been. Well, I love being with my family during the holidays. I really don't work anymore during the holidays, which is fucking great. But yeah, summer is a great time to do it because of the city of Chicago. The city, yeah.
I'm just like, if I just don't want to be in a bar. I don't want to be in a, like, there's sometimes, like, I've changed it to where, like, I will say yes to certain shows because I want to do a show here and there. Like, I want to get
Paper Machete on a Saturday in June is going to be fun.
Whatever. Like, that'll be fun. Occasional Saturday night or Friday night, cool. But I was like, I don't want to do an open mic. And there are certain jokes that I have, like, stopped pushing. And I'm literally like, you know what? I know that if I just put the pencil down, it's going to come to me. Let me go, like, live a little. Yes. And there are new jokes that I have just written, and I am like, oh, my God. A couple months ago, I was like, this isn't where I want it to be. You need to take a break and put it on the shelf. And now I'm like, I have lived experiences that I can now insert into this thing that I wanted. Yeah. And instead of forcing that shit or, like, just going up on stage every single night, I was like, I would be miserable. I would be happy. And I think it would have taken me longer to get to that point if I just, you know, wasn't on stage all the time.
Yeah, like, exactly.
I just needed a minute.
And, you know, I think that there's nothing wrong. I mean, I really don't think there's anything wrong with, like, getting some sleep.
Eating vegetables.
Having a healthy digestive system. Yeah. I mean, I've definitely always loved being able to rest, and I need sleep to be, you know, bitch, you don't want to catch me if I haven't eaten and I'm on 4 hours of sleep. I'm a fucking bitch. Do you think I'm going to be good at stand-up? No. And if you have a day job and then you do stand up at night, like you should rest. You should absolutely get some rest. But I also feel like, a lot of white dudes, they have no lives.
No lives.
They hate their families. They fucking barely have friends. They moved away. They're like, you know, like I mean, I guess that's a reason to be on stage, because no one else is giving you attention in your life. That's why you're all fucking mass shooters. But like, that's not realistic for everyone else. I'm here to tell you that is not. I think I talked about this on the first season, but I have to reiterate because it's such an insane thing that gets pushed down to so many comedians, and I just don't think it's real.
Well, and it's weird too, because I've had interesting conversations with people, because I've just like, I took that break off. I wasn't doing open mics, and now I'm like going back to open mics, and like, you would think that I passed away.
That's fun.
Like, people are like, where you been?
Yeah.
And I'm like, outside. Have you checked outside?
I'm getting my pussy ate,
yeah,
bitch.
like, what the fuck? Like, eating pussy, getting mine ate. Like, what do you mean? Where have I been? And they're like, oh, I see you're doing, like, because I'm playing flag football now. And they're like, why would you do that? And I was like, because it's fun. I'm building community. There are queer people everywhere. And also, guess what? I have so many jokes now.
Yeah.
So many jokes.
Unique stories.
Yes, that I was like, if I wasn't doing this, I mean, that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it before my knees are shot.
You just know that it's going to happen. Like, when you live your life, you get material. When you go outside, you get material. I mean, that's the whole concept of observational humor. You need to be outside to observe. Yeah. So, like, why be outside only in the certain hours or at certain times? It's not realistic.
You're like, what?
It's awful.
Yeah, it's just, and also, like, I'm kind of happy that I have a day job in a way, because I'm like, I'm gaining material from this shit.
I remember a comedian years ago when I still had a day job. This comedian came up to me and he's like, you still got a day job? And I was like, yeah, I do. He's like, you're so lucky. And I was like, what? Mm-hmm. He goes, I have no, but this is also one of these jackasses that thinks being on stage 50 times a week is like the way to be. Yeah. But he's like, you just don't even realize how much you pulled from work until you don't have work anymore. And all I thought was like, I barely have jokes. This was me. Mm-hmm. I barely had jokes about work because I fucking didn't want to be at work. Yeah. So like, I just was like, I'm disconnected from this. You know, like, I don't even want to. This is like actually a time for me not to think about humor. That's like, fair. I liked being at work and just working and not thinking about, comedy at night. Yeah. And I feel like it was a healthy way for me to exist. This was also when I was like a bus boy, like. Yes, I could have made fun of the celebrities that came into the fucking fine restaurant, but I also was like, I don't fucking care enough about these people. Yeah. I don't want to write a joke about Steve Martin being rude to the girl serving him coffee. I don't care. Yeah.
No, that's so real. The only time that I've ever appreciated working in corporate America is because I do comedy, because now I understand, like, because like when comics will like talk about, like, do crowd work with people that work in business, I was like, I don't know how to spin this. I don't know business talk. But now I'm like, hey, my guy, you crushing KPIs? I know what that is now.
That's funny.
So I was like, at least I have this lingo.
And there's comedy rules you could follow that are really good, like, that's the rule of threes and the cuss sound. Yes. And there's like these little simple rules. But then there's rules that I know a lot of comics don't know about, like when you're hosting, you're not supposed to fully leave the stage until the other person has set foot on stage. Like, they're basically, for those who don't know, when you're hosting, there should always be a foot on stage. Yeah. Because you actually don't know if the person who's coming on next is coming on next. Yeah. And also, what if this person like trips and falls while they're on, getting on stage, or if something happens? Like, you have to be ready at all times to keep the show moving. And that's one of those comedy rules that I have seen it now, and I'm like, I don't think people know that you're actually not supposed to leave the stage.
I never knew that like as a rule. To me, that was just like something obvious.
Sure.
Like, because it's just like a stage picture, right? Right. You're like, that looks very bad, and there's a lull.
But also, you come from theater, so you have theater knowledge. Yeah. In the same way that like, people know that when the host is on stage, that's when you get up to go get a drink. That's when you go to go use the bathroom. Yeah. A lot of audiences don't know that, but that's fine. Yeah. But that's also why people get scared to get up and do stuff during a comedy show, because like, well, technically you're supposed to do it during the host. Yeah. But also sometimes hosts are like rude and, making fun of the people walking away. There's always a classic. They'll say you're taking a shit. They'll say you hate the joke. Those are like the two worst things people are going to say to you.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Which I have never understood as the host why you are roasting people, like walk away. Because you're like, this is a long ass show. Maybe they are taking a shit. Yeah. Let them take a shit.
Yeah, let them take a shit.
You ain't got to call them out. Maybe they have IBS. Let them live.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
You know? And, but there's like, those types of rules that it's like, they're good. They make comedy good and it's good.
Running like the light.
Well, the light, they could do a whole episode
on
running just the light. But
this is funny. It's crazy. You're like, it's been 20 minutes into a 10-minute set and nobody's pulled them off. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and and you get punished for that. So, you should definitely respect the light. That's an easy one. But you know what? I found a clip of so Anthony Jeselnik, who I think is a great comedian, great performer. I found this clip and I sent it to you, and but I found this clip of him, and he was basically like, it's this really interesting clip at first, but then he talks about how I should say it's interesting because he talks about how he's like, when I'm on stage, I've now been doing it long enough that nobody can tell if I'm like having a good set or I feel like I'm like, if I'm having a bad set or if I'm having a good set, no one else knows because I know, and that's all that matters. Yeah. And it doesn't faze me, which I thought was interesting. And I was like, oh wow, definitely people know if I'm having a bad set, I'm going to fucking say it. But what I didn't like and didn't agree with was his definition of failure was when a comic is on stage and they acknowledge and they blame the audience for them not doing well. He's like, that's a failure. That's his number one and only rule of failure. I don't agree with that. Yeah. I feel like, of course, a white man is going to be catered to almost, comedy is catered to white people, whether you guys want to believe it or not. But comedy has historically been catered to. I mean, I didn't even think comedy was possible for me because I literally wasn't even an idea I had in my head because I never saw anything like me. Yeah. And I was like, this isn't for me. Like, not even a thought. I didn't even have this isn't for me because it was just not a thought that I could have because I never saw myself. So why would I imagine the possibility? And I also didn't want to do it. So that's also probably another reason it wasn't a thought. But, white dudes are always like, I mean, I remember in high school hearing dudes be like, I'm going to try stand up. I'm going to pursue stand up. They always want to do it. But it's so shocking because it's always men. It's always white men.
Because they're like, whose voice is underrepresented and they should hear is mine. And you're like, no.
And then they spend the first 3 years copying other dudes that they admire. But it's just really frustrating because comedy is so catered to white voices, and even when you go to comedy clubs, like it's very white, which is fine. I mean, you kind of get used to it. It's frustrating because you're always constantly looking for your audience, but also the people that frequent these clubs, they're used to a certain show, and sometimes when they're used to a certain show, and then they get light-skinned gay-ass Chloe, they're like,
what? This isn't what I was prepared for. What is she talking? She said pussy. We've got to go.
Yeah, they really like the bigotry comes out. It totally comes out. And I have to say, some of the best audiences I've been in front of are like conservatives who are ready to laugh. Because they exist.
Yeah, no, they do.
Conservatives who are ready to laugh are sometimes the best audience.
Sometimes in the suburbs.
They're the best. Yeah. So I'm not here to shit and act like, white people, they don't know how to laugh at black and brown and women and gay and did it. No. Yeah. It's if the majority of the time you're coming in with people that are like, oh, this isn't comedy. Yeah. I expected this. And this is, I don't know what this is. It's like, bitch, open your mind.
And also just like, didn't you come here to laugh? Like,
but they don't. Yeah, they can't. True. And in Hollywood, it's a nightmare because people go to see celebrity comedians. So if you're not a celebrity comedian, they're not going to be excited to watch you. They really don't want to watch you. They don't want to watch you work. I mean, well, I will say Jeselnik posted something recently where he was at the Hollywood Improv, I think, and a fan was like pissed because Jeselnik was working on material. And he was mad that he was working on material using notes. And it was probably like a 15-20 minute set. That's how the improv does.
Using notes? That audience was mad because he had notes?
Isn't that crazy?
That's insane.
And it's like, bro, this is an open mic for him. I hate to hate to say it that way, but like it's an open mic for him. Yeah. So he's got to do a theater in wherever this weekend, and that's where the fucking money is. Like, he's fucking not making money here. You're absolutely his open mic, sir. And but it's like there's no satisfying anyone, especially when they come in with expectations. And that's what I find frustrating is when you have a room full of people. Because, dude, when I open for Ralph, his audience is like young. They're these, you know, people. They're these young people who haven't really been outside, and you know, they're his fan base, predominantly Mexican. They don't want to watch any opener. They're also not trained to see any stand up. Because they're not used to, because they're so young. They're like 21, 22. It's their first stand up show.
21, 22? Goddamn.
And it's a room full of them. Yikes. And they're really they're like, no, but we paid to see Ralph. What is this about? You know, it's different. Like with Felipe, when I'm with Felipe Esparza on the road, his audience, same thing, predominantly Mexican. Yeah. But they're older and they've come to see Felipe. Yeah. And they know what to expect. Oh, his openers are going to be fucking crazy. Like, we got to be there on time because he always brings his circus of a show. Yeah. And which is cool because, what was that sound? But I know we have sound. We're right by the street here, so we get a little distracted sometimes. So forgive us for reacting to what we hear, even if you don't hear it. But anyhow, but his crowd is so fun. Yeah. Oh my God, when they're fun, they're so fun.
What a contrast between Ralph and Felipe, though.
And you know, and sometimes like their crowds. Yeah, and sometimes Ralph's fans are fun, but it's usually in like cities and states that like are a little more accustomed to seeing comedy. But again, when anybody just brings young people, they don't want to listen to some 40-year-old bitch be a bitch. You know, they're not ready for it. And when they are ready for it, it's nice. But man, for the most part, they don't want it. They just want him. Which is, again, I understand when you're young, you don't know how comedy works. Yeah. There was another comic that was hosting for him. He was like, he was having such a rough time. Yeah. Like, you know, bombing pretty hard. And, you know, you're used to it when you host. Sometimes you're kind of expecting that you might not do great. Yeah. And sometimes you might bomb when you're hosting. But he was like, that was hard. I was having a hard time just recovering from that feeling. I was like, yeah, dude, they don't want any, because that was the thing. It took him a minute to realize they didn't want any of us. They didn't like, not even the Mexican homie Ralph brought. Like, because it wasn't even about like race or gender or none of that. It was, we want Ralph. Enough with these fucking openers. That's how it goes sometimes. That's crazy. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, it's really insane. I mean, I think like with the Jeselnik clip, I mean, it's funny because I misinterpreted it like the first time that I watched it, because I thought he was saying like, you're a failure if you like go off stage and you're like, well, that was the crowd's fault. But he's saying like, no, like in the moment, if you're calling out the audience and be like, no, you guys suck. Like, it's not me, it's you. And I mean, I disagree with that, because like I low-key love it when comics do that, because you're also like acknowledging the obvious with the audience, because it doesn't mean that like you're a bad comic. It could just be a variety of factors. Like maybe they're just like not laughing really hard. Maybe they're really tired. Maybe they're actually enjoying it, or maybe they're appreciating what you're doing, but your comedy just like isn't for them, which is something that I've experienced. Yeah. But there's that moment of like when you're just like, you guys aren't fucking with this shit, and then people like laugh because they're like, we're not, but we're still present and enjoying this and out of respect. But then I've seen comics be able to then like recover and pivot to something else, because that just like loosens up the audience a little bit. Yeah. Because you are having a moment where you're like with them, you're talking with them rather than talking at them. Sure. So I definitely disagree. And because it is, you know, as like a minority and like a woman, like you have to navigate so many different things when you're on stage, because if you are in a club where the audience is expecting to see one thing, it's like, okay, like I want to try and adhere to this because A, I don't want to bomb, right? And B, but also I still want to like stay true to my shit. So it's kind of like a hodgepodge of like, okay, how do I
satisfy them?
Yes, this one's for me, this one's for you, this one's for me, this one's for you.
And it's frustrating because you're like, I want to have a good set, but sometimes you're also like, I'm also working on something, or I'm doing, you know, you have your own plan. Yeah. You weren't expecting like, oh, the fucking bachelorette party or the fucking corporate jerk offs that are sitting in the front that are like shit-faced drunk. And you're just like, man.
Well, when you're having to like, because I've now like changed my setup a lot up top for certain places to where I try to get a feel of who's in the audience. So I have like certain jokes that set that up so I kind of know. And then like if I know that there are like a few queer people in the audience, I'm like, fuck, well, I want to like those are going to be the people that are going to ride with me further on. So I want to like give them shit too.
Right.
While also not like bombing in a way for everybody else who may not fuck with that shit. So it's just it's a weird fucking line to like ride.
It is, and that's why I'm always like when I hear older comics be like, you shouldn't do this. I'm like, dude, come on, like that's not everybody. Should do whatever they want to like I said, I don't think you should be on stage 70 fucking times a week, 8 days a week. But if you have a certain type of joke, or if it's the only way you can memorize something, yes, I get that. But also, take some time off when you fucking nail it. Yeah. And I also just don't love this robotic delivery that a lot of like, especially it's white dudes, they have this robotic delivery, and I'm just like, that's not fun. How is that fun? But it's also been overdone in my opinion. The other rule that got broken recently was about not talking shit. You're not supposed to talk shit about comics. You're not supposed to talk shit about your peers. And Marc Maron did it on his special.
Oh, yeah.
He talked about Theo Von on his special, and I was like, whoa, because this is just like what he was talking about. Essentially, it boils down to like the Austin scene, and like people have been talking shit about the Austin scene behind closed doors for a while now. Still. The mothership and the Rogan, the manosphere happening in that space, and it's bubbling up even more dramatically now that Marc Maron kind of opened the floodgates. So for those that don't know, Marc Maron's recent special, which I think is his best special to date, which is how it should be. As you get older, your special should be better than your last. But to me, this is probably the first Marc Maron special I was like, oh, I could fully recommend this to everyone. It's just so good. Yeah. It's a little long. I wish you would have edited it down a little bit. I wish people would just stick to an hour. I don't know why people go over that, but it's fine. We're all a little self-indulgent. That's why we're going to try to keep this podcast tight. But so he makes fun of Theo Von. He does a great impression. It's really funny. If you don't know him, I know him from Road Rules, the original Road Rules.
I didn't really know. I had heard of him. I guess I did a really great job of filtering him out of my life.
God bless you.
But I didn't know much about him, and then I like looked him up, and I was like, oh yeah, that, like, I had seen like clips of him, but I didn't know who the fuck he was, and I was like, this ugly motherfucker. I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, and I think he did a great. The bit is great. I think the bit is great, and I think that. It has done a service to the comedy world of splitting everybody up a little bit, because it is very like kill Tony versus everybody.
I mean, 100%. And like when even like, because I didn't know much of who Theo Von was, but I knew that when Marc Maron said it in that moment, I was like, let me pause. And then let me figure out, I was like, oh, damn. I was like, he said that? Because I don't think I had ever really heard that in any of the other specials. Yeah. But I also didn't know that was like a rule.
It's not, it's bad. It's definitely bad to be bad mouthing comics. Yeah. A lot of the old school guys, they're just like, you don't just don't do that. And you definitely don't do it in a special. Yeah. But that, Marc is, perfect. He's trying to keep it spicy. My only criticism though is he was in the Comedy Store world when, when it was, so before people like migrated to Austin, there was this Comedy Store like building, this atmosphere building that was happening, that basically they really picked it up and moved it to Austin, which was fine. I mean, I was happy to see them all go. Yeah. But what's frustrating is like, I watched the years and years of like people like Marc Maron and people who are against the Austin scene now doing shows with these guys. Like they weren't against these guys when they had access to them, or maybe they were, and I didn't see it, but I definitely think that if you're agreeing to do all these shows with these people, like, what does that say about you? If you're, allowing a business to thrive with all these different like people that you think are terrible. Yeah.
And now you're getting your licking like years and years later.
But I mean, I do love it as a person who just, I'm like, yeah, good. Use your platform for good, whatever that means for you. And but it was interesting, and I think everybody should take a look at it. And it was like one of their main promo clips.
I thought it was great. I mean, that's truthfully, I'd seen that clip, and then you were just like, you need to watch Marc Maron's special. And I was like, this is perfect, because I just saw this clip, which bought me in. I was like, who the fuck? I was like, this old white man talking about okay. I was like, let's go. And I loved it. And I really just loved watching him pace back and forth before. I know I told you that before, but I love people's different performance style and stand-up, and just how he would pace. And then there were certain moments where it was I could tell that it was very specific when he would turn out. Yeah. And then he would go back to pacing, and I was like, oh, this is nice.
I mean, I feel really lucky that I got to watch him at the Comedy Store all those years ago. and watch him work on his routine and watch him like use that as a tool of like performance. Because I think a lot of people think that pacing just like they're just doing it and it's just happening, but it's all so choreographed. Yeah. You do these jokes over and over and over again. And it makes it so
conversational.
It makes it so conversational, but it's no coincidence that when they look up and deliver a line and you get the big pop, it's like, no, he's been rehearsing that. And it doesn't seem like it because now he's done it fucking 50,000 fucking times.
Yeah.
But it's part of the beauty of watching live stand up, and the recorded special is always a beauty to get to experience live. I recommend it to anybody if you can ever see a special being recorded. But I love that he broke that rule. As a shit talker myself,
she said, "I too can do this next special."
Yes, I loved it. So that's just me. But I do want to talk about some specials we've watched recently that we enjoyed. Ooh. And the first one I want to talk about is the rule follower himself, Jay Jordan. He has this really great don't tell set that it falls in line with the like. Yes, get on stage a lot because he's from New York, or he does comedy in New York. I shouldn't say he's from New York. I think he's from the South. He's from the South, yeah. And but he does comedy in New York. That's where he's been based out of for a long time. And Jay has this really great delivery because he does follow the like get up a lot and do a lot of sets. It is a great way to get strong. But Jay is a testament to like, no, have a life.
Yeah.
Spend time with your man, like do your thing, go do activities, go take trips, go take vacations, because you will become a better person and a more interesting person and a better person to watch on stage. And to me, Jay is like a testament to like that, the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree. Like, and I was able to watch him live last year, which was really cool. And it was just like, it felt like I was watching a masterclass, honestly, because it was just like clip, like for an hour. So like, I don't even think that there was like a lull, like not even exaggerating. Like there wasn't a fucking lull. I was like, this is incredible. I mean, clearly majority of the gays were out, and like, it was just like very much his audience. But it was just so great to watch, and he was like following every single rule for that, and then to go back and then watch the Don't Tell, because I think that was recorded like a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's a little.
And also incredible. I think that was like 30 minutes, and I was like, he's just like one of my favorites to watch. Oh, is it 15?
It's a shorter one.
What did I think? Because it was like him and Jackie Fabulous were on that same
one.
Yeah.
I think combined they get up there.
30. But Jay Jordan's special was really good. And then just recently watched the LOL of Chinadu.
Oh, Chinadu Naka. Yeah, he has a great LOL live, and he has some great joke writing, and you don't know where it's going, and the delivery surprises you. And I love Chinadu. He's so. There's another one who's well rehearsed, but you think he's like about to not say something funny. It's like you really catches you. Yeah, and it's great to watch.
It was incredible, especially when he was talking about like his mom, like those bits, because I felt like any family thing like always took a left turn that I just was not seeing, and that's like another stage presence too, where I felt like he was with the audience the whole time. He was taking his time. He wasn't rushing or anything like that. And even when there was a lull, it would like be picked like right back up. It was the pacing was just really great to watch. And he just stood in one place too. It wasn't a lot of physical act out bits.
He's so funny. He used to have one of my favorite WNBA jokes about how he was like a season ticket holder. He had floor seats because it's like $50 for the whole season or something. Yeah. This is before because the WNBA is popping now. Yeah. But there was like 3 comedians that had great WNBA jokes about basically like how cheap it was and how everybody should be, and how like you should want to watch girls running around like, come on fellas, what are you doing? I always loved that they had that perspective. But Chinadu is so funny, and he's from LA, and he's just a great comic. He was also, I believe, on Insecure.
Was he? Maybe
I think he had I might be wrong. I'm over here again. But yeah, those are great comedians, and you guys should watch their sets.
Do it.
And you should support your local comedy scene if you have one, even if it's really bad. It's always fun to be the person supporting for no reason.
That's true.
Anyways, this is the first episode of Comedy is Dead with Marcella Arguello and Chloe Mikala. So like, subscribe, follow, whatever. Send a comment. Let us know what you want to hear about. We're happy to share stories and talk a little shit. Yeah. But yeah, that's the first episode. Thanks, guys. Bye. Peace out.